Hey, good morning to you. Happy Thursday. Mark again here, Weatherman Plus. Now, these threats have not stopped, even though we got just a little taste of it yesterday. And we do have some convection in these storms this morning. We have a few rogue cells that is passing through, and we have our tornado threat for today. It's going to continue for tomorrow, even grow even more for Saturday. So if you've never been here before, make sure you hit that subscribe button. I am all year long. All the links are in the description. I'm going to go through what you're going through. Some extreme temperatures are coming, not just the temperatures. The wind chills is the worst part. Major snowfall coming with this next system of storms. And I'm still showing that we're going to have that second potential outbreak around the 5th or the 6th. Thank you all for all your support. God bless all of you. I hope you all stay safe, you and your loved ones. Make sure you hit that like button, show support for the channel, and share the information. Let others know what is coming. Let's reach more people, guys. This is not stopping. Now, power outages was not that bad as that system came across. The big event is about to unfold, mostly after Friday evening for the big event. We still have a little bit to deal with for today and this afternoon for the Southeast and Mid-Atlantic, though. California is still 89,000 people without power. They've been going up and down, even though Georgia shows 7,000, Alabama 3,000, South Carolina 2,000, Tennessee a couple thousand. There is people without power. It's just not big enough to be on this yellow where it's at least 10,000. Now, your severe weather for today, you do have the marginal and all this dark green, thunderstorms and all this lighter green, but you do have tornado threats still, guys. It's going to go all the way into the evening for South Carolina and North Carolina. You're still in the 2% for tornadoes, and here's your cities and your states for the tornado threat. Charlotte, North Carolina, Atlanta, Georgia, Raleigh, North Carolina, Birmingham, Alabama, and Durham, North Carolina. Also, flash flooding is going to continue for a couple of days as well. Southwest, all over in Southern California, you're still in flash flooding for marginal and a slight risk because that strong storm, the upper level low coming from Southwest, is making its way towards Texas for the big event. As well as Southeast, you are in a marginal today for flash flooding for this green area right here. The National Weather Service did put out a mesoscale discussion on this, and it is saying that this is going to be the outflow of the storms training all day long, and the heaviest precipitation of 1 to 2 hour rates of rainfall is in this pink section for today. Not only for the severe weather for January 1st and the 2nd, there will be major snowfall on the northern half of this storm, so it will be two great extremes. Major snowfall, severe weather with tornadoes in the south. Plus, now we have the greatest icing potential right here that was put out by National Weather Service that we can expect some icing on both models is showing that. Now, according to National Weather Service, this is your impact severity for your severe weather that is coming with this major snowfall. And you can see in the yellow that you are in the minor section, and in this orange is moderate section for severity index for this major snowfall. And pretty much that's according to the Euro. GFS is showing it's going a little bit further, but National Weather Service shows it lightens up a little bit, and that's what Euro is showing as well. Now, they have some key warnings that you need to listen to. Accumulating snow and ice are expected New Year's Day, which is Saturday, from the Central Plains to the Great Lakes, resulting in widespread travel disruptions and impacts. All you traveling for New Year's, please be careful. Heed the warnings from the live streamers here on YouTube. They are here to save your life, guys. So your thunderstorm outlook for today, as you start through your morning, early this morning, you have a 40% chance, the best chance for seeing thunderstorms in this region. As you go through noontime, it's going to shrink down to just Alabama and Georgia. Then as you go through later on this evening, almost to nighttime when you're eating dinner, it's going to stretch out to South Carolina, even go a little bit towards the corner of North Carolina, because there is some cells still passing by, there's still some shear, and there's still some chances with the strong instability to get a tornado, guys. Now tomorrow, your severe weather risk, marginal all the way from Texas, all the way to Kentucky, even West Virginia, North Carolina, upstate South Carolina. You do have chances for tornadoes, guys. You have a 2% all the way from Texas, all the way to Kentucky, and a big 5% also in the center of that. But here's your cities and your states for your tornado threat for tomorrow. Your highest risk being in Dallas, Texas, Memphis, Tennessee, Fort Worth, Texas, Nashville, Tennessee, and Arlington, Texas. And as this system comes by, it is going to put a marginal for flash flooding in Arizona, and also a marginal risk for flash flooding tomorrow in all of this green, and a slight risk in all this yellow. As we go Saturday into Sunday, we're going to start brewing up all these storms, and it's really going to start getting a bigger area. Now you have a big 5% area of severe weather outlook in this brown, and a 15% in all this yellow. And here's your cities and your states for Saturday going into Sunday severe weather. With your main towns, your highest risk being Memphis, Tennessee, Nashville, Tennessee, Atlanta, Georgia, Birmingham, Alabama, and Montgomery, Alabama. You also have flash flooding risks for Saturday going into Sunday. You have this green marginal all the way from Arkansas all the way to West Virginia, and this big slight risk for flash flooding. These storms are going to train in the same area, the same path for hours, and it's going to accumulate. When you look at NAO, the North Atlantic Oscillation, see if when you have a high ridge or a low trough on the center to the east side of the country, the Euro does show that we are going to start going into a high ridge coming from the 5th all the way to around the 7th, and maybe come back down around the 9th. GFS sees this as well. When you look at the Arctic Oscillation, you see we do have a dip of cold air coming in around the 4th and the 5th. Then it will be a little warm up after that. Then we do have another dip of cold air coming in around the 9th. And the NAO, according to the GFS, shows the same thing as the Euro. As you go into this little trough around the 4th and the 5th, we're going up on a high ridge. And this is going to make all these storms come to the south and go take an extreme turn towards Ohio Valley and the upper Midwest. Then after that, we're going to have another dip of cold air coming down, going into another trough into the south. And this is going to be a rinse and repeat. Severe weather on the 5th and possibly on the 9th as well. So the coldest temperatures I can find so far is as it comes down on the 1st and it stretches all the way down by early morning on the 2nd. You will have very freezing temperatures in the upper Midwest, negative temperatures up to negative 20 degrees. You will feel freezing and be freezing in Texas. It'll be in the 20s, northern Louisiana as well, while you're on the warm up on the southeast. With the wind chills when that first comes in, where you was negative 20 up in the upper Midwest, you feel like you're in a negative high 20s to negative 30s, while Texas is going to feel like you're in single digits to teen temperatures with that wind chill. And it's going to carry across the central U.S., feeling like you're in the negative 20s, while the whole East Coast is going to be pretty warm. On the 3rd, this is going to stretch out to the southeast and bring another morning of waking up with freezing temperatures in the deep south, while you have negative temperatures still for the upper Midwest and everybody else pretty much freezing temperatures in the morning. And then the next setup on the 6th, when the cold air comes down, it stretches all the way down by the 7th, and early morning temperatures is freezing again to 20s for Texas. Lower deep south going a little bit further now with your cold air, while you still have very much negative temperatures upper Midwest and teen temperatures for the central U.S. This is not wind chills, this is your temperatures. The wind chills is going to stretch negative 30, negative 40 degree wind chills in the upper Midwest as it stretches down to the central U.S. and Ohio Valley, feeling like you're in the negative teens to 20s for a lot of people. And as you go down to the south, with the wind chills, you're going to feel like you're in the single digits for a lot of Texas. And GFS saw a few dips, guys. So on the 8th, as it dips back down again, your early morning temperature is going to be frozen again in the deep south. It's going to cover a little bit more territory now, go even further in the south, where everybody's in the freezing temperatures for the 8th. And it's still bringing very much negative temperatures to upper Midwest and single digits for the Ohio Valley. And once again, the wind chills is just going to make that morning feel super cold. You're going to feel like you're in the teen temperatures all across Texas and the deep south. And you're going to feel like you're in the negative 40s all the way from Montana, North Dakota, northern Minnesota, even northern South Dakota. You're going to feel like you're negative 40 with the wind chills. And everybody else is going to feel like they're negative 20s in the central U.S. and Ohio Valley negative teens with the wind chills. It's even going to stretch over again on the 9th and cover more of the mid-Atlantic and bring more freezing temperatures to the southeast this time. Plus teen temperatures in Ohio Valley and negative temperatures once again to the upper Midwest. This will be a 3-day event of this cold air. Now, as we go through our day, it's still going to feel a lot of 60 dew points, especially some 70 for lower Alabama, lower Mississippi, and the panhandle of Florida. And it's going to create your storms that's going to train from Alabama to Georgia to South Carolina. Then all day Friday is going to fill the atmosphere with some more 60 dew points all the way up towards Kentucky and curve down by South Carolina. Then it's going to go down a little bit towards the lower half of the deep south. You got Texas and right below Tennessee. It's going to get out of Kentucky. But once you go into the first, when that system comes in, it's going to swoop into some nice 60s, very cold temperatures swooping in. I showed you your temperatures. But the 60 dew point stays in the deep south. They don't go past Tennessee, really not even much in Tennessee. So there'll be severe weather, some severe thunderstorms, but you don't have that tornado potential. Most of it looks like it'll be a deep south problem meeting up with that cold front. So most of the convection looks like it will be deep south on these storms coming from the 1st and the 2nd, and it'll go towards the mid-Atlantic with some of the storms also. And then when the next system comes down on the 6th, the cold air is coming down, and they don't have a lot of dew points for a lot of the country. That is very great news. Matter of fact, I'm showing weakening this morning. Very good news. But you can see where the cold air is punching in with the 60 dew points and where your storms will happen on the 6th, and as it carries over to the 7th, it stays all in the deep south. It stays away from the central U.S., Ohio Valley. All the severe weather will be in the deep south. And you see how it's bringing 60 dew points all the way up to the mid-Atlantic on the 7th, but your cold air and your 60 dew points is meeting up in the south. And this will carry over towards the mid-Atlantic, towards the evening hours for any severe weather. Now, this first big storm that we're going to get on the 6th, you can see how it's bringing a lot of major snowfall. It's pulling all this cold air down. This does go counterclockwise on a surface low as the storms go across. Now, this is a global model. This isn't high resolution, so you won't see all the storms. But you can see a lot of storms as it is just off a global model. But it's bringing freezing rain, a lot of sleet, and it's carrying up all the way to the northeast with that. And it's going to be all evening while it brings all this cold temperatures. You see the 540 line, your freezing temperatures, as it swings to the southeast. And GFS shows there's a potential for some more convection, getting another surface low over South Carolina and North Carolina. Euro really don't show that as it carries up to the northeast. But you can see what the last runs were on this storm. As it comes through, they all pretty much show the same thing. It's predicted that that was going to be the area. Now, the good news I'm showing from this morning is that one that comes on the 6th and the 7th, the surface low actually gets stretched away from this big front that it creates. And that takes away a lot of the energy, which is a good thing. It miles down the thunderstorm skies. And as it comes in, you can see it pulls way up to the northeast, even brings rainfall into Canada. You get some 40s up there. But it brings a big front line down to the southeast also. There is some thunderstorms. I'll show you the lightning. But it has deteriorated some because this surface low disconnects from this front. It gets very far away. Now, so far from the Euro, bring 50 and 60 miles per hour wind gusts from the northwest, mostly Oregon, even some 70s, especially off the coast. Be careful of that. Higher elevations, we'll see 60 and 70 miles per hour all across the mountains. But as you get into New Mexico, northern Mexico, western Texas, it gets 50 and 60 miles per hour winds again as this dips up. But then it changes to high 40s for everybody except the Gulf of Mexico, Bay of Campeche. That's 50 and 60. But Tennessee Valley, you could see 50 and 60 miles per hour wind gusts as it carries to the mid-Atlantic as well. It has mild down greatly, so it's a lot of higher elevations like Asheville, things of that sort. A lot of people will be in the high 40s. But the Euro showing the first one comes off on the 1st and the 2nd, bringing 50 and 60 miles per hour wind gusts right off the coast of the Carolinas. And the second one goes on that high ridge and is bringing 70, 80, 90, even 100 miles per hour off in the Atlantic. But maybe Delaware and Maryland and southern Jersey might see some 50 miles per hour wind gusts. The highest so far by the Euro is 106. And the GFS is picking 50, 60, 70, even 80 miles per hour off the coast of Oregon. Then it starts bringing in 50 and 60 miles per hour all across Oregon, northern Nevada, southern Idaho. Goes across Wyoming, 50, 60, Colorado, 50, 60, New Mexico, northern Mexico, western Texas with some 50s. But it brings 50 and 60 miles per hour to Oklahoma, Kansas, Missouri, southern Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, and this goes up on that northern path. And the one on the 1st and the 2nd comes across the south. It brings some 50s and 60s to the Tennessee Valley. Then as it goes off, it brings some 50s and 60s to Georgia, South Carolina, the coast of North Carolina. And then it gets stronger, 70 and 80 as it goes off into the Atlantic. But you can see here on the 1st that you actually get your two lows, and these energies are still combining into one, guys. One's going to go in front, the other one's going to come right here over Texas, and this really is going to elongate the severe weather event. It's going to give it a lot of potential to create a lot of shear and create these storms. As it comes through, it's still showing strength, but look right there. As it goes from the 1st to the 2nd, it loses some of the strength in the 500 millibars on the winds. It breaks it down and it weakens down. It goes just to the mid-Atlantic and not much for the northeast. There is some, but it's not as strong as Georgia, South Carolina, and North Carolina. And the one that comes in on the 6th, you can see where this big bulk of cold air is coming down. You got your surface low spinning up here, pulling it down, pulling up all this warm temperatures, and you get some more wind, some more chances for some strong storms to create with all this shear. And mostly for this Ohio Valley, it stretches all the way into the 7th, and it actually elongates all the way to the 8th, all the way to the south, all the way to the Ohio Valley, with a chance for some thunderstorms getting created by all this winds. This is over 110 knots. It's almost 120 knot winds. And down here in the south, it's 130 knot winds. So there's going to be some high winds coming, some chances for some severe weather, especially for the southeast. That's where your dew points are going to be. Y'all just going to see thunderstorms up here. But it does carry over to the 8th and go on a higher ridge towards the northeast with these winds. And you can see this here on your vorticity on 500 millibars. You have your 1-2 systems there. They both meet up together and elongate. This one goes up towards Ohio Valley. This one stretches down to the deep south. And right there you get a big long stretch of shear. A lot of storms getting built up over here in the mid-Atlantic. You can see all the storms pushing through Ohio Valley, mid-Atlantic, and then as it goes through the evening, it's going to go through the mid-Atlantic and the southeast, creating a lot of vorticity, a lot of strength in these storms as it curves up to the mid-Atlantic and the northeast. Strong system. And so far on that second one, you can see as it pulls down, it's pulling down, creating all the severe weather down here, and it's going all the way from the southeast all the way to the northeast as this just tightens up and spins and creates all this severe weather all along the coast. This is the one for the 7th all the way to the 8th. And you can see your storms this morning. They do just train right through. You get a couple kidney beans in there right around 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock this morning. It stays only for mostly eastern central Alabama and western central Georgia for a while. You get a couple around noontime for South Carolina, but it stays a lot for Georgia and eastern Alabama. Real nasty bean right there as you get towards your afternoon. Then it's going to stretch right across Georgia, South Carolina, and North Carolina with the severe weather as you go into later tonight, dinner time, overnight. It stretches towards North Carolina. Now, according to high resolution rapid refresh, these are your Cape values for today. And as you go through 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, and noon, it really strengthens up, especially for Alabama and Georgia. But you can see how it stays around the center of where those storms are. So this is where it's all going to brew up and carry over towards pretty much Columbia, South Carolina. And that's what that looks like right there. Right around 10, 11 o'clock, it starts getting some pretty high chances for tornadoes going across Alabama, and it will shift towards South Carolina. But you see how you get that pocket of stability? Your chances for tornadoes is gone. Your Cape values disappear from there, but it will come back. But until then, it's just going to be for Georgia and Alabama. Then once it gets to the afternoon, it's going to carry on to South Carolina and then North Carolina. And if you look at your helicity tracks where you can see where most of your lift is going to be, where your wind direction changes with height, you can see where, and you can see that a lot of the trails go through central Alabama, a little bit in southern Alabama, but a lot of them are trailing through central Alabama, central Georgia, and central South Carolina right around Columbia. This is your best chance for these long track storms. You see how these train pretty much from the center of Mississippi, center of Alabama, and northern Georgia. You get a couple strong, nasty cells that pass through, especially at 11 o'clock this morning. That carries over, strengthens up by 12. But after that, it should start weakening down, especially for Alabama. But then you can see it carries over towards Georgia with the strength of the cells and a little bit towards South Carolina headed that way as you go into this evening. But see how it miles down when you get to South Carolina? Most of the strength is going to be for Alabama and Georgia. But you still have a chance for South Carolina and tip of North Carolina. So South Carolina looks like you're going to be getting some storms this morning all the way from upstate to Columbia, all the way to around noontime. Then it's going to stretch down towards the coast of South Carolina, the coast of North Carolina. You're going to have that big pocket of stability. The thunderstorms will go away for a couple of hours. But then they'll come back for the coast of South Carolina the rest of the evening from 4 to 8 o'clock at night. Now that's as far as you can see with high resolution rapid refresh, but you can see that these strong cells does not carry over as the same intensity. So it does weaken down as it comes towards you. And you can see a little further with NAM 3K. You can see how it agrees with high resolution rapid refresh all the way until 7 or 8 p.m. You have very strong values for the southeast, chances for tornadoes. But it dies quickly as it goes past South Carolina as you get towards dinner time. And you can see that here with your shear. You do get some shear built up. Some storms do brew up in front of all these winds. And it does carry along all morning long into South Carolina as well. To the afternoon, you do get some for Alabama. That carries over into Georgia, while the South Carolina storms carries over into North Carolina this afternoon. But if you notice, right when you get around 8 o'clock, you get all these storms start brewing up, and then it just flakes off. But if you also look as you go into Friday and into the big event for Saturday, it starts really raising up your tornado perimeters from Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Louisiana, southern Missouri, and it carries towards Ohio Valley and Tennessee Valley. So we definitely got to stay updated on this one. You also can see there is some lightning with these storms as you go through today. The most intensity is this morning for Mississippi, Alabama, and Georgia, and it starts flaking off with strength all the way to this afternoon when that passes from South Carolina to North Carolina. Might strengthen up a little bit more. But after that, it stays pretty weak, guys. You will see some thunderstorms. There will be a lot of rainfall, but it don't stay too strong. Your last shot in South Carolina, I'd say, would be around 6 p.m. with the strongest of it. After that, it's just regular thunderstorms. Tornado chances, I think, will flake off pretty quick as you go later into this afternoon. And that next system that comes on the 31st into the 1st, it is bringing a lot of lightning for Texas, especially by the afternoon. This is all going to kick off Friday afternoon, overnight storms, especially for Texas, Arkansas, Tennessee, and some of southern Missouri, all the way into the 1st. And look at it intensified right there at 3 a.m. on Saturday. That's a lot of lightning strikes, Texas. So there will be a lot of storms passing by y'all, but it is going to the east, southeast. So as we go to the 30th and 31st, you can see it fills the atmosphere with pretty much thunderstorms. It starts getting severe as you get into the morning of the 1st, and this carries towards the Ohio Valley. Get a little bowing out right there Saturday morning. And you can see for the Ohio Valley that it really raises up the storms towards the lower half of the Ohio Valley. That's just regular thunderstorms. Then it starts getting stronger for Kentucky, Missouri as you're going through your morning of the 1st, and everything starts raising up. Lower half of Ohio Valley, you're going to see thunderstorms, but the upper half has a good chance of seeing major snowfall. And you can see here with your lightning strikes as you go into the 31st, backing up where you can see the whole country. As you go into your 1st, it carries over into the south and the Tennessee Valley all afternoon long, and it stays southern. See how all the lightning, all the thunderstorms stays south while you're getting a major snowfall in the north. And then it carries over towards the mid-Atlantic, the southeast, kind of winds down, not as strong. Potential for it to pick up on the way out because there's a chance for another surface low. Now, when you take a look at the setup, this is according to the GFS, you can see the difference. The GFS really starts to pull the storms all across Tennessee Valley and the south as it picks up on the 1st, bringing freezing rain, snow, ice, and thunderstorms. As it goes towards the Tennessee Valley to the northeast, it brings storms to the mid-Atlantic and the southeast, while another surface low creates, pulling this cold air even further down to the south because it's going counterclockwise, so it's going to pull that down and bring the cold air to the southeast. Why you got a chance for storms for the mid-Atlantic, like a 1-2 punch. You literally just had this one come through on the 1st, and on the 2nd, on the way out, could have another one brewing up, and that could fierce up some winds. And the Euro is showing about the same thing. It will bring these storms up. It will get this ice and freezing rain. How much is a little different between the both, but it will go towards Ohio Valley with this first storm, but that second one don't quite spin up enough convection, enough lift to create a surface low. The cold air does swing by, but not as strong as the GFS is showing. Now, your 5-day precipitation, according to GFS, is bringing 3 inches widespread, all the way from Arkansas to southern Jersey, Delaware, Maryland, Virginia, all of y'all in at least 3 inches of rainfall. And you have 5 to almost 6 inches for Kentucky, Tennessee, Western Virginia, and West Virginia. Also for Northern Carolina and Southeast Virginia. Maybe even Southern Maryland. You got some heavy precipitation coming according to the GFS. Also the Northwest. You got that little system spinning around Washington and Oregon. A chance for 2 to 3 inches. Not much, but it is within the next 5 days. The Euro sees this as well. It picks up the heavy precipitation in the northwest, not as far down Oregon, but it shows heavy precipitation of 2-3 inches from Arkansas to West Virginia. Heaviness being in northern Kentucky, 2-3 inches for Tennessee, Alabama, northern Georgia, some for upstate South Carolina, and the coast of North Carolina. And there's bringing major snowfall. According to the GFS, panhandle of Texas, you have some in the mountains. Oklahoma, you've 1 to 5 inches all the way from Kansas, all the way to Michigan with a big wide spread of anywhere from 6 to 8 to even 9 inches of snowfall, all the way from Kansas, all the way towards Michigan. So it has a chance to just rip straight across. And right below this is going to be the freezing rain and the ice. While the lower half of the Ohio Valley has nothing, got way too warm with the storms coming by. And there's a chance for that second system to come by within the 5 days because it does brew up that second surface low. Could pull the cold air down on the way out and bring some snowfall to eastern Kentucky, central Tennessee, maybe some for Virginia and West Virginia, as well as Delaware, Jersey, and Maryland. Possibility. Ice, still hard to pinpoint that. Y'all know that. But so far it's showing the fronts will come down and the temperature battle is going to meet up somewhere right here by Oklahoma, all the way to the upper Ohio Valley by Michigan. So just be aware there is ice potential as well as for the New England states. Right now it's not narrowed down. It is within the next 5 days. Now the Euro don't go as deep like the panhandle of Texas getting to 1 to 5 inches, but it's still showing Denver will be getting snow. It will be getting widespread 1 to 5 inches and more from Kansas all the way to Michigan. It agrees with that, but it don't agree with the major snowfall and how big of a spread it is. And the Euro shows that it don't get that surface low, so it don't pull that cold air down enough to get that snowfall. So there is a little bit of difference in the two. But it is picking up the ice all the way from Kansas to northern Missouri with a heavy strip of ice up to 1/4 of an inch. So just be aware, in the New England states, both models is picking up ice along the Oklahoma to Michigan. That's pretty much where this front's going to meet up with this temperature battle. So you do have some ice and freezing rain coming. Even National Weather Service said beware of it. And that is updates so far, guys. So make sure y'all prepare for this still multi-day severe weather event. It has not stopped. It is going to go on through Saturday. And I still think we have more coming from the 5th through the 7th, maybe even the 8th. So make sure you prepare. You do have the freezing rain coming. You do have the major snowfall and the severe weather. God bless all of you. May you be safe in these times, you and your family. Make sure you share this on social media. Help me reach others. Alert them to what's coming. Let them know. Because just like we saw this severe weather, we do see another one coming, guys. Thank you again. Now today I want to read Psalm. O Lord, our Lord, how excellent is thy name in all the earth, who has set thy glory above the heavens. Out of the mouth of babes and sucklings hast thou ordained strength because of thine enemies, that thou mightest still the enemy and the avenger. When I consider thy heavens, the works of thy fingers, the moon and the stars, which thou hast ordained. What is man, that thou art mindful of him, and the Son of Man, that thou visitest him? For thou hast made him a little lower than the angels, and hast crowned him with glory and honor. Thou madest him to have dominion over the works of thy hands. Thou hast put all things under his feet, all sheep and oxen, yes, and the beasts of the field, the fowl of the air, and the fish of the sea, and whatsoever passeth through the paths of the sea. O Lord, our Lord, how excellent is thy name in all the earth. Amen. Thank you again for visiting my channel today. I appreciate it. My family appreciates it. I wish best for you and your family. And all glory, all power, all honor does go to Yahweh, God of Jacob, your father. Amen. Hallelujah, guys. Have a very blessed Thursday out there.